Another crowded area for the O's, and Burdick started last season in AAA, only played 14 games for the Marlins, batting .182, but can play all three positions. The corresponding roster move to make room on the 40-man. The O's placed their closer, Felix Bautista, on the 60-day injured list. He is out for the season after Tommy John surgery. Next Tuesday is the first full squad workout. Saturday, February 24th, the first Grapefruit League play game. 6 weeks from tomorrow, opening day, it's right here at Camden Yards, Thursday, March 28th, against the Angels.
Oh, if music like that doesn't get you excited for the Orioles, I don't know what does. Oh, well, I'm looking forward to some spring weather eventually getting here. All right, here's your weekend. 45 as we move into Friday. We have some snow showers or even some light to moderate snow happening very late. We're talking well after sunset, probably closer to midnight, and that's going to fall through the overnight hours into your early Saturday morning. And most of that will be clearing out as we get through daybreak, and we're only going to hit a high around 41. But we're back to some mid-40s on Sunday. That's going to be nice and dry with lots of sunshine.
All right, Gerard, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, breaking news out of Kansas City. A person is dead, 15 others hurt after a shooting at the Chiefs' Super Bowl parade, and the Baltimore Ravens now offer their support of the Kansas City fans and their community. And we're also following breaking news out of D.C. 3 officers are shot trying to serve an arrest warrant. We'll have an update on the suspect.
We are following breaking news out of Kansas City tonight. A shooting at the Chiefs Super Bowl parade and celebration leaves 1 person dead, 15 others injured. A new bill would make stealing firearms a felony in Maryland. Why a majority of residents say they support it. A controversial proposal to lessen penalties for certain crimes on school grounds. Why some lawmakers are calling the move tone deaf.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
We continue to follow that breaking news out of Kansas City, Missouri. At least 1 person is dead and 15 others hurt after shooters opened fire at the Chiefs' Super Bowl parade. Now, police say they've taken 2 armed suspects into custody. At least 3 of the shooting victims are in critical condition, with 5 reported to be in serious condition. Right now, there's no word on what may have caused that shooting. Bystanders describe the chaos that followed.
We saw people running out of Union Station on the east side of the doors pretty frantically, and at that moment we were receiving information that we needed to change where we were, so just to gather and then just get to a safe space. So there was information provided quickly, which was nice, but sure, it was a frantic situation, and it is still a little chaotic as people are still finding family members and understanding where is the best, most safe route away.
An estimated 1 million people gathered in downtown Kansas City for the celebration of back-to-back NFL championship games. All Kansas City Chiefs players, coaches, and staff are safe and accounted for following the shooting. Take a look at this. This is video circulating on social media right now, reportedly showing a Chiefs fan tackling, I think there's a couple of fans actually, tackling the shooter. Shortly after the man is tackled, you can see police arrive on the area and take that person into custody. Right now, police, however, have not confirmed the man's identity and that he is, in fact, one of the suspects. That is under investigation. Now, for their part, the Baltimore Ravens, who lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game, put out a statement on the shooting saying the team's hearts are with the Chiefs' kingdom. The statement goes on to say, quote, "We send our full support to every citizen of the region and each member of the Chiefs organization who's been affected by this senseless tragedy." This is a developing story, and we ask that you stay with Fox 45 News for the latest updates on air and online. Mary?
Kai, thank you. We are also following breaking news out of Washington, D.C. today, where 3 police officers were shot this morning attempting to serve an arrest warrant. Police say it happened around 7:30 this morning at a home in southeast D.C. According to officials, officers tried to make contact with the suspect numerous times, but he refused to come out. When officers tried to gain entry into the suspect's home, they say he fired shots at them. Police say all 3 officers suffered non-life-threatening injuries and were rushed to area hospitals. As of now, the suspect remains barricaded inside his home. Today, lawmakers met in Annapolis once again to tackle some key public safety bills. One of those bills would make it a crime to steal a firearm, and it would make it a felony. Republican lawmakers have prioritized this issue for several years. Before session even started, this bill was included in the outlined GOP priority package. Earlier this month, the Senate committee heard testimony on 2 similar bills.
Between 2017 and 2021, there were nearly 5,000 stolen firearms. We want to be sure that we have real serious penalties for this very serious crime.
It seems counterintuitive that a state that has some of the strictest firearms laws in the country looks at possessing a stolen firearm as simply a misdemeanor.
There wasn't any opposition during that Senate committee hearing. The latest Gonzalez poll shows 88% of Marylanders support making possession of stolen firearms a felony. As violence escalates on some campuses across the state, some lawmakers want to eliminate a charge known as disturbing school activities. That charge is often paired with violent offenses, including arson, sexual assaults, attacks with a weapon, threats, and fighting that happen on campus. Under this bill, students could still face charges for those specific crimes, but they would no longer face the additional charge of disturbing school activities. Supporters argue the charge disproportionately targets children of color and those with disabilities. Many lawmakers firing back, calling the bill tone deaf. Others question why higher education is included. We pressed one lawmaker about that today.
Those kinds of things need to be handled with age-appropriate internal school discipline. But if something is a crime, it can still be charged as a crime.
You talk about age appropriateness. Should adults be included in this bill?
So this doesn't really address adults.
Students in college are adults.
Students in college are adults, but the brain does not fully develop until age 25. And so most students in college are ages 18 to 21. They're still learning how to be adults. And again, on college, if somebody commits a crime, they can be charged with a crime.
No vote was held today, but this bill has passed in the House twice before. After today's hearing, it does not seem likely to pass again. As juvenile crime continues, police in Howard County are investigating whether kids and a stolen car are tied to a string of early morning robberies in Columbia this week. Investigators say 4 boys at Hammond High School were targeted on their way to school Monday. Fox 45's Amy Simpson has the latest from Columbia.
A terrifying and unsettling way for students to start their week, and signs are already pointing to juveniles as likely suspects. According to Howard County Police, these crimes unfolded in a 90-minute period between about 7 and 8:30 a.m. Monday morning. 4 boys, Hammond High School students, were robbed of wallets, backpacks, or shoes. 2 of the crimes involved handguns. Fortunately, no serious injuries were reported, and this afternoon, police revealed a break in the case came overnight.
We've just learned that overnight, a vehicle that matches our vehicle description of our suspects was stopped last night in another jurisdiction and was declared to have been stolen. A number of juveniles were arrested for that vehicle theft, and we are looking into the likelihood that they were probably linked to the cases that we had here in Howard County.
Today, police would not say exactly where that stolen van was recovered, only referring to it as a neighboring jurisdiction. Meanwhile, the district says a community message about these incidents would be going out this afternoon. In Columbia, Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
Baltimore City citation docket front and center at today's oversight hearing at City Hall. Several council members expressing disappointment and frustration with the low number of citations written since the docket was introduced last summer by City State's Attorney Ivan Bates. Fox 45's Maxine Stryker has more on their concerns.
It's been about 7 months since that citation docket began, and today we learned police have only issued 35 citations that have made it to the docket. The state's attorney's office saying nearly half of them being rejected due to officer error.
The citation docket launched by Baltimore City State's Attorney Ivan Bates last year was meant to tackle low-level quality-of-life crimes. Crimes once ignored by the previous administration under Marilyn Mosby. But the effectiveness of the docket is now being called into question by several Baltimore City Council members.
Why is the volume of citations issued so low?
It's still a process for us, right, to issue a citation. Even if we see that individual doing something, we still have other policies that doesn't say as soon as we engage, we're automatically issuing a citation.
Since the docket launched last July through December 2023, the state's attorney's office says just 35 citations issued by BPD made it to court, but about half were rejected by police internally, meaning they were legally insufficient to proceed to prosecution. This year, in January, police have issued 8 citations, and the state's attorney's office says 6 were rejected. Police saying it often comes down to errors in the language, pointing out officers haven't written citations in a long time.
Unfortunately, this sounds like officer errors that could be corrected.
The state's attorney's office says they offered to train BPD on issuing citations correctly, but haven't been taken up on the offer. Meanwhile, they say other agencies they trained, including MDTA and Amtrak, are having little to no issues writing legally acceptable citations.
This BPD is the anomaly here in these data sets, and I would have more reassurance as to the effectiveness of this had BPD taken SAO up on the offer for the training.
Police promising to connect with the state's attorney's office and close the gap as council members worry the citation docket isn't living up to expectations.
Police pointing out the policies under the previous state's attorney Marilyn Mosby did leave them in a bad place. So a lot of re-education has had to be done to get this process to roll out smoothly. However, they say just making contact with residents has helped dramatically, and they do think it's helping reduce crime. From City Hall, Maxine Stryker, Fox 45 News.
Good evening. Your Valentine's night should be pretty decent. It's going to be chilly, so if you're getting ready to head out, make sure you got the jackets with you. It's going to drop even further. We're at 38 degrees now, and we've still got a little bit of a wind out of the northwest, around 8 miles per hour, but we're going to continue to see those numbers dropping to around freezing by the end of the evening. All right, we're just talking about tonight. We're talking about what is coming our way. Our snow potential meter, I have bumped it up. We are keeping the possibility of some snowfalls we head later into the weekend. This is mainly going to be a Friday night, possibly through early Saturday morning event. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the latest data, the totals that we could be seeing, if it's going to be really impactful. Not like the last one. Could it be the same, or is it going to be different? We'll tell you in just a bit.
I'm Kayla Gaskins on Capitol Hill. Coming up, the GOP's latest plan to go after President Biden.
Join us Monday, February 19th, 7 to 8 p.m. WBFF, Fox 45, where Governor Wes Moore will join us for Your Voice, Your Future. I'm Armstrong Williams. Don't miss it.
New polling by ABC News and Ipsos shows an overwhelming majority of Americans believe President Biden is too old for a second term. Sinclair national correspondent Kayla Gaskins has more from Capitol Hill with how Republicans are trying to capitalize on that.
House Republicans reportedly hatching a plan to ensure Americans don't soon forget President Biden's slew of forgetful moments.
There's been a response from there's been a response.
The strategy appearing to be in action Wednesday, with House Speaker Mike Johnson hammering the point Biden was not charged in the classified documents case, in part because he would likely be presented to a jury as a sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory.
A man too incapable of being held accountable for mishandling classified information is certainly unfit for the Oval Office. And everyone in this room, if you just ask yourself that question, you will come to the same conclusion.
GOP-led hearings on Biden's mental fitness, including subpoenas, are in the works, according to reporting by Axios. Many top Democrats coming to his defense.
I spent a lot of time with President Biden, be it in the Oval Office, in the Situation Room. He is extraordinarily smart.
Did anyone film that? If you're telling us behind the scenes he is sharp and full of energy and on top of it and really in control and leading, you should film that.
The Biden campaign going on the offensive with attack ads on Trump's age and his moments of appearing confused.
He got confused and said he was running against Obama.
And we did with Obama,
We won an election that everyone said couldn't be won.
Despite efforts by the left to flip the script, a new ABC Ipsos poll shows 86% of Americans think President Biden is too old for another term, compared with 62% who think Donald Trump is too old.
The House GOP and the Justice Department are coordinating a time for special counsel Robert Hur to come testify publicly about his investigation into the president. That could happen as soon as late February or early March. On Capitol Hill, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Well, the White House is pushing back on an idea from former President Trump, who says foreign aid should be given in the form of a loan. Some Republican lawmakers have endorsed the idea, including South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham. Trump argued the loan could be made, but with certain strings attached. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan notes there could be a place for loans and foreign assistance, but there are a number of categories where that makes no sense.
Humanitarian assistance in the best traditions, bipartisan traditions of the United States, has never been a loan. It's been something we provide to people in desperate need in conflict situations. Second is when you're dealing with a country that is fighting for its life, like Ukraine, that needs an economy to remain basically afloat.
It comes as the White House urges the House of Representatives to take up a $95 billion foreign aid package. The measure includes support for Ukraine, Israel, civilians in Gaza, and Taiwan. The Senate passed the legislation yesterday, but House Speaker Mike Johnson has indicated he won't put it to a vote, criticizing the package over its lack of border provisions.
All right, let's take a look at your triple cast. Hey, it's nice to see the radar got a nice clean sweep on there, and your photos, videos, your live streaming video that we have off to the right. We got our cameras showing the harbor, and also looks like near Towson. Everything's looking good. You're going to head out this evening. You're going to want some jackets. It's a bit chilly out there, so we'll talk about that. First of all, I want you guys to see something really cool. This is a look that we're going to have, I think, here of the satellite image here. Let's see if we can pull that up. Here we go, your next weather maker. This is the last of the last weather maker. We're going to continue to watch this image because this is really neat, because this is what is left of the snowfall from the weather maker that we just had from northern Pennsylvania, actually southern Pennsylvania, all the way up to Boston and Cape Cod. We saw it just brush, of course, the edge of Maryland here. Look at the way the clouds are kind of textured. Very interesting to see how that is shaping up. That is just basically ripples in the atmosphere, and that is just like when you throw a rock into a pond, it makes ripples, and it can give the same look on the satellite image if the conditions are right. All right, so your next weather maker is not arriving until closer to Friday night, but we will be seeing our temperatures dropping tonight into the upper 20s to around 30 degrees. We'll be hitting around 50 tomorrow, ahead of a small front that's going to come through. It's not going to bring us anything other than a little bit of clouds ahead of it. That's going to run through the area around Thursday night, but by Friday our temperatures come back down again, so we get one little bump in our temperatures late Thursday, and then they're back down again for Friday. But that sets this up. We'll be in the colder air. That means that this system that's coming more likely will be producing some snowfall for us here as we head into Friday night and Saturday. It's not going to be a lot, but some of the data has been kind of at least in a good agreement that a dusting to maybe 3 inches of snow are possible by the time we wake up on Saturday morning. That's how most of the data is showing up. Here's just an example of what some of the numbers could look like with higher totals just to the north, almost like what we saw with the last one, but big difference. These numbers, while measured in the grass, have more potential of collecting on the roads. Our temperatures were a lot warmer at the ground when we had our last bit of snowfall, so it didn't really cover the roads as easily. But all we need to do is add 1 more inch to these numbers, and that's certainly on the table, and we could have completely covered grounds, making it for a little bit of slick travel on your Saturday morning. So we're going to keep that chance in there, 90% definitely for the overnight, but these potential for any precipitation is very late and very early, as you can see. Everyone else, as you look, are going to continue to stay dry into next week. Sunday looks pretty decent. So this isn't going to be a system that really ruins anyone's weekend. That's the good news. Next week, we start to recover with our temperatures, upper 40s by Tuesday and Wednesday. We're going to have your 10-day forecast coming up.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
An especially bright partial rainbow appeared near Seattle on Tuesday. It's partial because the sun was hitting Virgo, raindrops evaporating before they reached the ground. But the perfect sun angle gave us the vibrant colors. And it was on this day 4 years ago when NASA first shared these images of heart-shaped mesas and depressions on the Martian surface. Happy Valentine's Day.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
A retired teacher in Fresno opens his home to complete strangers. Why he has decided to house 4 migrants from Venezuela. One mayoral candidate in California is hosting 4 asylum seekers from Venezuela. In tonight's Assignment America, Rich Rodriguez from our Sinclair sister station in Fresno explains why the retired teacher decided to open his home to complete strangers.
Alexander and Gabriel Mendoza came to America with only the clothes they were wearing. But now they have a roof over their head in Northwest Fresno. Retired teacher Jim Barr came to their rescue late Monday night. First stop was the grocery store.
We've got food for 5 days. They cook and they clean, and you check their rooms out. I happen to have I had to push my clutter out of the way, but they've got a nice place to stay here.
It took the Mendoza brothers 2 months to travel from Venezuela to Texas. When they got to El Paso, they asked for asylum. Their travels didn't end there. They were put on a bus to Denver. Not welcome there, they were bused to Fresno Friday, February 2nd. They received temporary shelter at the downtown La Quinta Inn until Monday.
I am an empty nester, and I'm getting a knee replacement March 20th. I was hoping that there'd be some sort of outreach or assistance.
Fox 26 News has learned that the asylum seekers are not eligible for existing services from Fresno County. It appears they're now on their own. Gabriel and Alexander Mendoza came to America to work and say they're willing to try anything. The other 2 men from Venezuela, also staying in Barr's home, were out the door Tuesday morning hoping to pick oranges.
We haven't had a chance to talk even with the telephones, but I have visited. My Klingon version of Spanish is pretty awful.
Barr first met the asylum seekers shortly after they arrived in Fresno and took 9 to dinner. As the bill shows, they were hungry, and the connection convinced him to offer 4 a temporary place to stay.
All right, let's take a look at your 10-day forecast as we head into